Hi there. We're going to do a 10 stitch blanket in my Vernon Stitch. So I will get ready and we will get going. Okay, so the yarn I'm using is a yarn that is by Hobby, and it's Carnival yarn. It's a number 3. I don't know the color because that's not the right tag for it, but it's a bunch of different shades of blue, and I'm using 2 strands to make a thin number 5. I'm using a 5/8 inch gauge loom from the Dairy Circle set, and the loom hook is from Touche Crochet. They make mostly crochet hooks, but they do make some loom hooks. So we're going to get going. I'm using 7 pegs. You can use more or less, it's up to you. And I'm putting a slip knot on the first peg. And after I do my slip knot, I'm going to put my loom hook in here, and I'm going to pull up the working yarn to get a loop. I'm going to keep this nice and tight, and I'm going to take this and put it behind the peg. Don't need my loom hook for this. Put the working yarn through and pull it tight, keeping that one nice and tight on the first peg. I'm going to go behind the next peg and do the same thing, the same thing, all the way to the last peg. And then I'm going to take that one and just plop it over, pull it tight, and then knit it over. There we go. Okay, and then I'm just going to go back in Owl Eye. So I'm going to go over this peg again. And Owl Eye is the first stitch in the pattern. It's a 2-stitch pattern. Okay, so we'll always be going the same direction when we do Owl Eye. Okay, now we're ready to do the second row, and for the second row we're going to go over this peg first, and then the stitch that we're going to be doing is the kernel stitch. So that's a very easy stitch. Just get this prop so I can do it, and we come around like this. So I'm just going to wrap in front, come back around. I'll demonstrate Owl Eye better for those of you who haven't done it, but I think most of you probably have. Okay, and then I'm going to purl it. So I'm going to go to the front, back around, take the 2 strands and grab them and purl them over. Okay, so this is my kernel stitch. So we're doing a kernel stitch row now. And then we do the last, oh no, there's still one more peg. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to come over here, get some yarn here, and I'm going to knit this one over like that. And I'm going to come back in the Owl Eye stitch. So I'm going to go like this on the first peg. Whatever peg we're on peg 1. We go over 1 and 2 like that. That's how we do the Owl Eye stitch. We're on peg 1, we go behind and over 1 and 2, knit it off. We're on peg 1, we come around 1 and 2, knit it off. So Owl Eye is a very easy stitch. And there we are at the end. Then we're going to come back, and then we're going to do kernel stitch. So we come around and we come around to the side, and we scoop up the 2 loops and just lay the new loop over the top, round, take these 2 and just scoop them over the top, take these 2, scoop them over the top. There we go. So we're just purling these 2 stitches. Okay, and that is the kernel stitch. and then over. Okay, we're going to come back again, going this way. We're going to go over this one, and then we're going to do the owl eye stitch all the way back. So now you know the two different stitches we're doing, so you can go ahead, and what you're going to do, if you want it square, we're 7 pegs, so we're going to do 14 rows. If you decided you would like to have yours a little bit longer, then that's fine, because whatever your final, when we are ready to go and do the next step in this, we're going to do the corners, but our first initial piece, whatever size it is, that'll be the dimensions of the finished piece. So if it's square, it'll be square. If you're slightly rectangle, it'll be slightly rectangle. So that's up to you. I want mine to be pretty close to square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 14 rows. So after I've done my 14 rows, we'll catch up and we'll do the next step. See you in a bit. Okay, so I have done my rows and I've got a square here. And here's what it looks like. And I really like the other side better. That's what the other side looks like. But it's nice that both sides look good. Okay, now we're going to start to do our corners. And I'm going to do German rows because I really like the nice tight German row. I don't like to have the holes on the side that the wrap and turns give you. Okay, so let's get going. So this is the first stitch that will be the German row, and then we'll come back and we'll go down and we'll German row that one, come back, go down, German row that one, come back, go down, German row that one. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is the corner. We're going to come over and do, oh yeah, going this way, we're doing kernel stitch. Always remember which way you're doing your stitches. So this is kernel stitch here. And we come all the way down here until we get to that last stitch. And then what we do is we just go over it like this, knit it off. And for me it's 2 stitches because I use 2 stitches. Okay, and now that it's knit off, we pull it and then we pull it this way until we get a V. So we got a V shape coming from here down to there. And that's what we're looking for, our V. Okay, and then we pull the V, and then we're going to do owl eye this direction, nice and tight. So I'm going to tighten it more than I normally do because I want to keep that short row tight. And we go all the way to the end in owl eye. Okay, now we're going to come back, and this way we do kernel stitch. I named it kernel stitch because on its own it kind of looks like kernels on the back. An owl eye I named that way because when it's done a bit looser, I thought I saw owl eyes looking back at me the very first time I tried out and saw to see if that stitch would work as a stitch. Okay, and then this one is the second last one, so we're going to go over it and pull it into a V. So sometimes the V and the other ones don't go as far, they only go to this middle thing, but that's far enough. You know, this one usually goes further. So you can see the V right in here. Okay, and then basically that's all you're going to do is you're going to keep going down, and it's going to be hard to get this one over now, but I want it nice and tight. That will loosen up as we go. We just want to keep that tight so we don't have holes where we're doing the corners. Okay, so here I am, and then we're going to go back, and we're just going to keep picking up another stitch. So we have this one in the V. We'll be doing that one next. So we just keep going back and forth doing that, and we'll catch up when we get closer to the edge here. Okay, so I'm down to here. Whoops, my mouse. I came down to here, and this one is V'd up to there. So we're going to do the kernel stitch again. And then we're going to do the German row here. So we're going to pull, and then we're going to come over here in the owl eye stitch and go over it again and go over the end peg. We're going to come back over here, and we're going to go over that like that. Now we're going to do the German row right here. So we pull this one, come back over here, knit that one off. It's a little tighter, and then that's the end of corner part 1. And what we've done is started to turn the corner. So right now it looks kind of strange here, but as we pick it up, you'll see that we'll make a corner. Okay, so we're going to come back now, knit this over, and this is the first one we pick up. So we're just going to come over, knit it off, and after we knit off a new one, we go tighten it a little bit, we come back and knit over it, and then we'll knit over this one. Then we're going to come back, and we're going to go to that one. So because we don't have this short row, we're actually going to do the stitch on it. So we'll do the proper stitch on it for going this way. Whoop, no, it's there. Okay, and then we're going to knit over the new one we're picking up. We're going to make sure it's nice and tight, knit over it, come back. This way we're doing the owl eye. So we do the owl eye and go over this. We come back again, going over this one, and we do the kernel stitch here. There we go. Then we do the kernel stitch here. There we go. Little loom is hard to brace. Whoops, did I lose a stitch here? Okay, if you have 2 stitches and you lose one, you can just take it back, put your original stitches back on, like that, and then come back over and do it again. And make sure that you don't lose any stitches. There we go. Okay, now we're picking up this one. So we pick it up, tighten it, come back over, and then we just do the owl eye stitch back this way. Okay, so now you know what we're doing. We're going to go back and forth doing the stitches where we can, the direction they are, and picking up all of the short rows. So I'll see you when we've picked them all up and we're back here at the beginning. Okay, so I've completed my corner 1 and 2, and so if you look at it here, you've got kind of a rectangle now where you've done the new corner. Okay, now because I don't want to wait too long, I'm going to put a stitch marker in where we will be picking up a stitch when we're ready for that. So if you look at where this is attached here, we can't put it there because this one is already attached to there. So we go to the next one, and there's always going to be 2 stitches that you're picking up. You can see over my thumbnail I got 1, 2. So that's where I'm going to put this stitch marker. next time we pick up 2 stitches, it will be right here where we have another 2 stitches here. So the reason it looks pretty low, and the reason it looks so low is this one, if we pull on it, you can see it's attached to that. So we want the next one over, and that's where I've put the stitch marker. And the reason I'm putting it now is we have to do another corner 1 and 2, and this is going to drop further and it would look weird to you. So I wanted to have the stitch marker in right away. And you can keep putting stitch markers in. You go and you look for the corner, and there's the corner there, and you look for the last 2 stitches before this corner, and that's the last you do, and then you do another corner 1 and 2, and then you're over here on the other side of the corner to start again. So usually I put a stitch marker right there. I'm going to see if I can find one here. I have a whole bunch of them. I like to mark them a little early, but you don't have to. But the same thing as I'm doing there, so I look and I find the 2 stitches that are at the end, and then I find the 2 stitches for the new one, and I always put that there, and that way I know I don't go and pick it up. I know that I have to do a corner to turn the corner. Okay, and so I can also put another one in. I'll take out a couple stitch markers here. So I'm ready with another one. And this is where we cast on, and this is the first corner on the other side. It's harder to see because of the cast on, so I'm going to go down like this, and then I'm going to go down like this until I find the 2 stitches. 1, 2, right there on the other side of the corner. There's the corner, and then the last 2 stitches are right there that you would be picking up. See? So they're pretty easy to see if you, and you can put stitches in every one of them if you want. Every place that you're going to pick up if you have a hard time finding it. But this just helps me. I could put one in here too. So we'll be going this way. We'll come down, and then we'll do the corner. Here's the corner here, so here's the last stitch. Then we'll do the corner 1 and 2, and then we'll be putting it right in there for the new row we pick up. Okay, so now we're going to do another corner 1 and 2, and I'm just going to put you on pause because you know how to do the corner 1 and 2. I already showed you. You're going to do the exact same thing again, and the reason you have to do that is we made this square, and whenever we go around, we'll just do one corner 1 and 2 because we'll just be turning one corner. But when we're here, we have to do 2 corners because we have to come out and then go along the side. So this is the only time we'll do corner part 1 and corner part 2 twice. Okay? So we're going to start again. We're going to do our stitch that we do this way, kernel stitch, and we're going to short row that one, come back, then short row that one, come back, same thing, and then we're going to pick them up. So you can rewind it a bit, the video, if you want to see how to do them again if you can't remember, but we'll catch up when we've done another corner part 1 and 2, and then we'll start picking up the stitches, starting with this one first that has the red stitch marker. So I will see you in a bit. Okay, so now we've finished our second corner 1 and 2. So we've done this corner 1 and 2, this corner 1 and 2, and now we're going to start connecting, and there's our first peg. And remember, I said to do it early because it'll look like it's even further down, but look at how far down it looks now. That's why it's important to do it then, because after 2 corner 1s, part 1s and 2s, it gets quite far down. So I'm going to put it on this last peg, and I'm going to take out the stitch marker. Okay, and then I'm going to do a Tamsin join. So what I'm going to do right away, because this will help hold that stitch on, is I'm going to knit it over. And a Tamsin join is a flatter join. Okay, now what we're going to do is come down and start picking up those stitches. So I already have started here, and we're doing the stitch all the way down, picking up the 2 loops and purling them over. bit tight there, but I was keeping it tight because we were doing short rows. There we go. Okay, so here we are. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to knit over, and then we're going to come back, and then we're going to do owl eye back all the way. And we're going to do this last peg, and then do the kernel stitch here, and do it here. Okay, and when I get that far, I usually put the next stitch on, and I've marked them all with markers just to show you how you do it. So the markers are all the way down here, the yellow one telling me this is the last marker to pick up, because then we'll do another corner and pick up this one. So I did that to show you how to do it. If you have trouble seeing them when they're on the loom, it's good to do it in advance. And then I'm just going to take out the stitch marker again. I can find the pin. There we go. And then do the same thing. I'm going to just knit over it. And that'll help hold it on. And then I'm coming down. And I'm just going to knit that over exactly the same way I did the last one. Yeah, I think it worked better when I propped it for the video. I was trying to figure out the best way to keep it in the camera for you and the least awkward way for me. Okay, so now we're just going to knit this over, come back and knit it again, and then do owl eye all the way down. And you're going to keep doing that. I'll just do these stitches and then show you. You're going to keep doing that again until you get down to the last place on this side to pick up. And then we'll do corner part 1 and 2 again, okay? And we only do it one time from now on. It was only at the beginning we did 2 sets. So we'll catch up when you get all the way down picking up the stitches, and we will see you in a bit. Okay, so I picked up all the stitches on that side, and now here's the one for when we turn the corner. So now we have to do corner part 1 and part 2, and we only do that once. So you're going to go down, short row that one, come back, go down, short row that one, come back, all the way till you get there. Then you're going to go and start picking them all up until you get back here, and we'll have completed that corner, and then we're ready to start picking up that row. And we're just going to keep repeating that all the way down. We're going to, after we do the corner 1 and 2, we're going to pick that up, pick up all the stitches all the way down to the last stitch right over here, do corner 1 and 2 again, then we'll pick up that one, go down there, and that's what we keep doing. And as you can see, this is starting to turn into a square when we finish that. Okay, so we'll just keep going, and we will end up with a beautiful 10-stitch blanket. So now you do corner part 1 and 2. Okay, so I did the corner 1 and 2 right there. That's where it is. And then I started picking up, and I'm almost done picking up that whole row. And then when I pick up this pink one, I will be done. And then I will be doing another corner 1 and 2, and then I'll be picking up that side. And you just keep going. So You know, you go down to this last one when you're picking up, do corner 1 and 2, and then you'll be picking up that one, and you just keep going around and around as far as you want. And we are far enough now you can see the flatter stitch that I did here. So this is the flatter stitch right there, and it's a lot flatter, you know, but you can see to some extent it going around. And then on the other side, here's what we look like with no real edge, although you can see a little bit that we're joining here. But this is how it's looking. We can look at it from different angles. But we've done enough now that you know what you're doing. Once you do the extra corners, once you get down to, let's see, there's our initial thing. Once you get down to here, going around and picking up, you'll be back to the square shape. And then you just keep going, and you're always going to end it at the end of the square shape if that's what you started with. And you'll be coming down in a narrow thing, and then you just bind off with any bind off that you like. I always have a bind off on my channel on most of my stitches, so you can see it there. I put it in the description of a lot of videos, or you can just find it by going in my channel and looking for it. Okay, well, we're continuing to grow, and it's looking really nice. You can look at it a bit closer here. And it's really beautiful, beautiful stitch. You can see the beautiful kind of detail here. And then, of course, the other side is really gorgeous. And oh yeah, up here where it's starting to get the blue, might be able to see even more that way and this way, and you can see how beautiful the stitch is on the other side. Well, you can look at the stitch on this side too. There, see, on the light you can probably see it better. Look at it at a few different angles. So yes, we are coming along. Okay, so we'll check in more in a bit. Okay, so my blanket is growing, it's getting bigger and bigger, and so I think you by now know enough to be able to complete this and make it any size you want, big as you want. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, bye.